question that I'm going to take is a very, very important, very, very interesting one, which talks about that, IPCC AR6 was released this year. Then there was COP26. Then there was Fit for 55. There was Climate Action Tracker. A lot of reports came in, a lot of discussion was there that climate change is going to be the biggest agenda of 21st century, and climate has already deteriorated so much that only by making lifestyle changes, lifestyle modification, only by doing afforestation, because even afforestation has its limitation, that is, in order to regenerate the forests which are of the same scale as the forests which have been lost, it is a big task. So what exactly should be done in order to combat climate change so that you can get back your nature, or the nature can get back, or it can be sustainable? So it has been seen since always that whenever there has been a problem of this sort, let it be for food security, according to Malthus, the population will explode exponentially. It will not have enough resources and eventually people are going to die. But then science came to the rescue in the form of green revolution, white revolution, blue revolution, etc. So we have seen that whenever there are these desperate times when humanity does not have an answer through conventional mediums, it is the technological intervention which helps us sail through. Similarly, even for energy, earlier the first industrial revolution was based on steam engine. The industries used to run on steam engine. But now finally, you have nuclear energy, you have nanotechnology, you have solar energy, you have coal energy, you have thermal energy. What is it? It is nothing but technology intervening to scale up the production. So my telling you all this is, whenever there is an input of technology, it is one temporal, that is for the time, and then spatial. It is both temporal as well as spatial. So when I say the temporal aspect, that means I need quick results. All right. It could be anything, even in medical sciences. In medical sciences, you can have lifestyle modification. But if the disease goes out of hand, you need a surgical intervention, you need medical intervention. So in order to have quick results, in order to have profound results, I need the technological intervention. Similarly, the theme that I have taken today is the global climate change. So the reality of global climate change has heightened the critical importance of science and technological innovations. What is the rationale of giving this question is that we know that climate change is real. We also know about the hazardous impact of climate change. But what exactly should be the scientific technological innovations that can actually help in combating the effects of global climate change? So how will you exactly write this answer? Always keep in mind, you need to have scientific and technological innovations in order to have the temporal and spatial effect on some issue. Spatial, that is across the globe. Across the globe, steam not sustainable, coal. So you found the way to generate electricity. You found the way to generate electricity through nuclear power. Less input and extremely high output. Right? The technological innovations made it possible to create electricity through thermal energy, geothermal energy, through wind energy, etc. Similarly, in the times today where global climate change is such a big issue, how exactly is the technology going to help in tackling this menace? So for this question, this is a 10 marker question. For this 10 marker question, you have to write, from the introduction should be something which has a thrust to it. Reason being, this is about climate change. This is about something that you should be, looking forward to, especially when so much is going on. So you can take the IPCC report here, that the recent IPCC report emphasizes that limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius requires major and immediate transformation. So it needs major transformation and immediate transformation. This is a small introduction. Why have I kept a small introduction? Because I am supposed to make a connecting paragraph. A connecting paragraph is important here, because if I directly go to the importance of technological innovation to mitigation, then it will be a problem. I need to create a connecting paragraph, and you can write it that technology can be our only way to tackle climate change, as the scale and speed at which mitigation and adaptation is required cannot be achieved through lifestyle modification and afforestation alone. So first we have to highlight that the lifestyle modification and technology alone cannot be the drivers for combating or mitigating the climate change and its adverse effect. Now you have to divide this answer into two parts. First is how technology can help in mitigating climate change, and second is the kind of adaptations, or technological adaptations are needed in order to mitigate climate change. So in this you can write that you can make a table like this. What is the importance of technological innovation for mitigation? In that, first you can write about carbon sequestration. What is carbon sequestration? Carbon sequestration means that you are capturing carbon from the atmosphere, and then you are basically storing it into the interiors. So this, you are basically removing carbon from the atmosphere, which is creating greenhouse gas effect. So in that you need cost effective carbon capture. What is the intervention needed? Cost effective carbon capture is needed, and conversion of it into useful products such as plastic. So this has been found. So you can use an example. First of all, most important is that the carbon capture should be cost effective. Second such focus area can be low carbon or zero carbon alternatives. You are having energy sources which are reason for production of greenhouse gases, such as coal, such as petroleum, which have greenhouse gases as their byproducts, as their residue. So for that you need to find alternatives which are low carbon, zero carbon, such as bio solar cells, such as efficient solar cells, such as battery technology, lithium ion batteries, solar and wind power, etc. For reducing energy demand. Now, there was a beautiful article also in Hindustan Times, I think in the month of October, which talks about how the buildings are going to be one of the biggest consumer of electricity in the coming times, since the urbanization is becoming rapid and the migration from the rural to urban areas is also increasing. Your buildings will need to be energy efficient. So you can write that energy efficient buildings and efficient recycling is a must in order to reduce the overall energy demand. Then in the fourth point you can write that the improved efficiency of the already existing energy production plants. So your thermal plants, your are the biggest culprit when it comes to loss. Your T&D losses, we have discussed in another question that up to 26% of the produced electricity is lost in the transmission and distribution. So you can use LED bulbs which are efficient. You can enhance the efficiency of the thermal power plant. You need to enhance the efficiency of the entire grid system to avoid the transmission and distribution losses. Now we have done the first part of the question. If you remember, the question said that what exactly are the necessary technological innovations which will help in combating climate change. So in that we wrote a small introduction, we wrote a connecting paragraph, and then we wrote in the table format what are the focus area and what are the type of innovations or interventions that you can do. Now comes the innovations. The interventions is done. Second part is innovation, which is what are the technical innovations which are needed for adaptation. So if the focus area is dealing with infectious diseases, especially with climate change, the climate is changing, the earth is getting warmer, and with that you are having more infectious diseases. More infectious diseases. So what is the innovation that is needed for dealing with the infectious diseases? Is targeted drug delivery using carbon nanotubes. CNTs can be used for the targeted drug deliveries. DNA vaccines should be produced, which has much higher efficacy than your conventional vaccines. Apart from that, even for flood safeguarding, since the climate is warming, there are going to be more floods, there will be water rise, there will be sea water level rise. So you need to create a setup where building homes on stilts, crafting barriers along the rivers becomes easy. Now this seems to be a mark of backwardness, because in states like Meghalaya, in northeastern states, you have houses which are built on stilts. But if global warming continues the way it is continuing, you need to find better innovative ways to make better houses on stilts. So this is a reality and you need to innovate on this particular area. Then of course the weather forecasting should be made better. The IT tools such as internet, softwares, computer, sensors, satellites, your entire satellite constellations should be dedicated only for weather forecasting. It should be done better. Your quantum technology should be used in these satellites for more efficacy. Then of course the climate smart agriculture, GM crops, laser land leveling, all of this should be accommodated in the climate smart agriculture. Using the soil health card, using the methods of better land use should be promoted. Then water purification such as desalination. Now currently you have Chennai where you have a desalination plant, and the grey water recycling. Grey water is the sewage water. Sewage water is called grey water, and that grey water or sewage water should be recycled. You have plants in metro cities, for example, in your malls, in maintenance of big gardens. The water which is used is the recycled grey water and not the drinking water. So such methods should be implemented across the world in order to have better effect. Then of course for disaster management, the better disaster management should be in place, such as the artificial lowering of glacial lakes, monitoring early warning system, etc. Why artificial lowering of glacial lakes? Try to give me an answer in your group. Artificial lowering of glacial lakes is considered one of the ways how disaster can be averted. How, as you can see in Uttarakhand, Uttarakhand is actually every 3 to 4 years is undergoing a disaster, undergoing flooding because of the glacial lakes. I have written both the parts of my answer. The first is what are the mitigation and how it can be improved. Second is what are the innovations that you need to do in order to keep in mind that the climate change is there and to combat its effect. Now in your conclusion you can write that generating and adopting the right technology is a capital intensive process. It needs a lot of money. This is where CBDR also comes into picture, where developing and developed world says that we are not against taking measures for climate change. In fact, we are the countries who will be the worst sufferers. But there has to be global cooperation. The capital should be provided, technology should be provided. So you can write that it is a capital intensive process which will require large scale global cooperation, and it has to be supplemented by sustainable production and consumption to ensure that human race survives climate change. I think this is the complete answer that you can write on this. You talked about what exactly the IPCC report is saying in the introduction, and in the conclusion you have said that how until and unless the entire globe comes together, it will be difficult to survive climate change by this race. Right, so this was my attempt. We'll be coming with more such answers. Till then, keep writing. If you have any issues, do reach out to us. Thank you very much.